apologies for the break. I am super excited because we have the Mayoress of Mijas here. She is the first ever female Mayoress of Mijas. I've said to her that her English is probably as good as my Spanish, so we'd really like her to speak in Spanish and introduce herself and the phenomenal work that they do in Mijas. So, Ana Mata.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bueno, me han dicho que hable en español. O sea, que yo quiero dar las gracias, en primer lugar, por la invitación a este acto que sin duda alguna refleja el poder que las mujeres tenemos en la Costa del Sol. Y quiero dar las gracias a todas aquellas mujeres que se han desplazado desde fuera, aquí a Mijas, para hoy tener una jornada de convivencia que sin duda alguna hará que cada una de vosotras salga por esa puerta con mucha más fuerza. Sabéis que el día 8 de marzo es el Día Internacional de la Mujer y parece que la igualdad ha llegado, pero no es así. La igualdad no ha llegado aún. Existen todavía muchos obstáculos que tenemos que seguir trabajando, no solo nosotras, sino también los hombres. Y aquí me acompaña el teniente de alcalde de Mijas, que sabe perfectamente que desde el Ayuntamiento de Mijas trabajamos de la mano también con todos aquellos hombres que quieren sumarse al carro de conseguir la igualdad de oportunidades entre hombres y mujeres. Las políticas de igualdad no pueden ser de ninguna forma diferentes, sino que tienen que ser también equitativas, porque las mujeres tenemos un obstáculo que superar que quizás los hombres, por la biología, no lo tengan que superar, y es la maternidad. Eso hace que nos muestren en plasma totalmente diferenciado y son obstáculos que tenemos que trabajar conjuntamente. Hoy, sin duda alguna, estáis aquí como mujeres empresarias, mujeres con una actividad empresarial que cada una en vuestra zona de trabajo sois influencia. Sois influencia para otras mujeres. Mujeres que os ven a vosotras y sin duda alguna piensan, ¿y por qué yo no puedo? Y eso hace que como mujer, como alcaldesa de Mijas, me sienta satisfecha y orgullosa de pensar que en esta lucha de igualdad no estamos solas, ni tampoco están solos los hombres. Aquí no se trata de hacer guerras de sexo de hombres y mujeres, sino ir todos juntos. Y en la acción empresarial, que es la que vosotras ejercéis, sin duda alguna hay un gran número de mujeres que están en sus puestos directivos, sin llamar la atención, pero haciendo un trabajo impresionante que contribuye, sin duda, a esa igualdad. Por tanto, yo quiero dar las gracias, daros la bienvenida a Mijas. Estoy convencida que vuestra labor sirve para que las mujeres cada día estemos más visibles y podamos entre todas llevar el mensaje que cada una de nosotras hemos tenido que vivir en nuestra vida y que a veces ha sido duro. Ha sido duro llegar hasta donde estamos, pero nadie dijo que la vida fuera fácil. Así que yo os animo a seguir emprendiendo, apostando por una actividad, la que queráis, pero que también es una actividad que sois referencia cada una en vuestro sector y que hace que la Costa del Sol sea rica por toda esa actividad que desarrolláis. Así que bienvenida, Mijas, gracias por estar aquí y mucha fuerza para seguir adelante y muchos éxitos para conseguirlo. Muchas gracias.
So I'd like to welcome to the stage the team that I couldn't have done this without. So Raquel Charo, are you coming up too? No, Charo. And Mario Bravo and Katia, my right-hand woman. So we've done this event for 10 years in Marbella, and it's always been a dream of mine. I first came to this venue in 2017 and thought this would be a fantastic place for a conference. It closed, it wasn't available, and then Andalusia Lab fortunately wasn't available because we got to be here. And Katia and I have been wanting to do an event for women together for a very long time. So I'm really pleased it can be here. So Raquel is the manager of this facility. She's fantastic. She's had a business herself, so she understands what it's like for women to have a business. So do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, so just I would like to say thank you for coming here. For us, it's an honor to celebrate this International Day here. From the first meeting 3 months ago, it was so enthusiastic to be here because I follow you before when you do it in another Marbella. So for me, it was a pleasure to celebrate here this day for you. Just to say thank you to Charo, our team, because it was very involved in all the meetings to celebrate this day. And thank you for you, all of you, because you make that one, make it possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. Good morning, ladies and ladies. There was a man who apparently had run away, afraid. I have good memories about this place because in that corner was the first time I was talking in public for political reasons many, many years ago. And I also like your motto, make it happen. I have an Irish friend who keeps telling me that every time he talks to me. I'm sure you all remember that fabulous speech that started, I had a dream. Having dreams is very important, but it is more important to make them happen. So if you have already got that dream in your mind, this is the time to develop, to make things coming true, to make them happen. And if we are of any help, the Foreign Affairs Department, Katia, Laura, who is not here today, and myself as counselor, and Anna as the mayor, and Raquel as the manager of the CEO, we are here to help you. So please go ahead and make it happen. Thank you.
Well, welcome as well, and big thank you to Ali and to Raquel. As Raquel, she said many times, many years, we went over to Marbella and we always said, oh, Ali, you're doing so many as well coffee mornings here in Mijas. Why can't we do the event here in Mijas? And then it happened that somehow it was destiny that she said, well, I think Andalusia Lab has a problem. I said, yes, we go. Yes, we go for it. Thank you very much, and thank you very much to Anna Mata as well, that you are coming today and that you are as well supporting this event. And it's a very big pleasure for the first time for the Forest Department that you're with us. Thank you very much. Now, back to Ali. Thank you very much. So, we're going to start the day, and I'd like to start, in your bags, your blue bags you've got, is actually a booklet. And in there is somewhere that you can, oh my God, clicker. No, clickers. Click that sensor. Yay, it works. So, this is what we're going to be doing today. There are copies of these posted around the room outside, so you don't really need to take a note. What I wanted you to do, first thing really, is to think about what intention you have set for today. So from your booklet, think about what intention you're setting for the conference. It may be that you've come here to meet somebody who can help you with your business.
It may be that you've got a new business idea that you want to discuss. It may be that the ladies that are talking today have got ideas that you want to hear more about. So it could be anything. But I really want you to think about setting your intention for the day. Those of you that know me know that I have a word for the year, and my word for 2025 was change. And look how things are changing. And you will be changed when you leave today. You won't be the same woman that walked in that door at 9 or 8:30. You'll be a completely different person, because you will have hopefully met somebody who can make a difference to your business. You'll have heard something that can make a difference to your business life. You'll have decided that, as Mariel beautifully said, you're going to go and make it happen and live that dream. It's something you've always wanted to do. Maybe you'll have made some new networking connections and had new conversations that you haven't had before. So really think about what your intention is for today, and think about how it's going to change who you are going forward. I'd like to introduce next to the stage my partner for the day, which is Georgina. Georgina and I first met in 2017 at my first ever International Women's Day conference. It was hosted in Marbella. We co-hosted it with Marbella Women's Group. They no longer exist. But I met Georgina there, and Georgina and I shared the stage together at that conference, so I'm really pleased we're back together. Yay! So, Georgina, over to you.
Thank you, Ali, and thank you for creating Costa Women, firstly, creating this amazing space for women and bringing us all together today. I'm sure you're all as excited as I am. So thank you, Ali. Let's give her a round of applause, shall we? So I'm going to be your MC for today. So I'm going to be taking you through it, introducing people, and generally, hopefully, keeping things moving on time and happening as they should do. And this is going to be a really inspiring and engaging day. And I'm so pleased to hear Ali say, make it happen, make a change, take something away from this that's really going to make a difference, because I am absolutely sure that it will. So we're not going to be talking about me now, we're going to be moving straight on to be introducing our lovely charity for today, which is Soroptimist International. And we have the lovely Soledad here, who is going to be talking to us about what they've been doing and how we are able to support them today. So there's going to be a raffle at the end of the day, and Soledad and her colleague are going to be selling raffle tickets outside. And why you should buy them is why Soledad is going to tell us about her wonderful work. Please come on up.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. You're probably all too young to remember this line from Fair Lady. But if you live in Spain, you know that it is not true. The plains here are almost always very dry. And Spain has been praying for rain for a long time. When you pray for rain, you have to deal with mud. Good morning, lovely ladies. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here today. Thank you. We are so grateful to share this space with women who can make it happen. It's powerful to be here. It's empowering. And we are very grateful, Costa Women, Ali Meehan. It was a Tuesday morning on the 29th of October, 2024. Nothing new, nothing special. The forecast was maybe a little rain. Nothing out of the ordinary. Veronica goes to her pizza and hamburger place. She's fully stocked up because Halloween is near and she hopes to have lots of customers. Amparo has already started her day. She manufactures apparel for outdoor. And she has so much work that she even brought her bed into the shop and she stays there. She has too many orders to fill in, and then her 5 employees are about to arrive. V is feeling good. Recently, she received a recognition from the local town hall as a female entrepreneur. She has worked hard to build up her yoga business, and she's looking forward to the future. Carol is getting her 5-year-old girl ready to go to school. And she has not been well for a year, but now she's recovering from cancer. She feels better, and she has invested in a room where she can teach art. Alas, around 8 o'clock that same evening, within less than 1 hour, all of their businesses were flooded and destroyed. Their entire lives were in the mud. It's been all over the news, the data. I don't need to tell you the horror that's been. When we heard about it at Sir Optimus Costa del Sol, we were so moved about the disaster that the data brought about that we immediately started thinking of ways to help. Too many people to help, so we decided to help women who had their businesses destroyed, their livelihood, and that of their family and employees depended on that. You see, the mission of Sir Optimus International is to empower women and girls, improving their status in society, helping them achieve their individual and collective potential, to realize their aspirations and have an equal voice in communities worldwide. We called our project By Your Side at Bulano to help the women affected by the Dana to get back on their feet. We reached out to Sir Optimus clubs in Spain and Europe. We invested some of our funds. We prepared some fundraisers, a concert and other activities, and we received some generous donations from some kind people. With this, we started with the first person. It was in Cártama. Dana also reached Malaga. Cloti had just started a business as a kennel. She divorced and she moved to the countryside. But the flood made her business disappear, so we hired a machine to clear the place and put a fence around it so she can get back in business. In January this year, some of our members, using their own time and money, visited the women they've already been in contact with in Valencia, Algemesí, Paiporta, and Massanasana, the villages. It was so important to see them and to learn more about their individual stories and to get an idea of the magnitude of the drama which and still is part of their day-to-day life. Because today, almost 5 months later, they are still fighting to rebuild their businesses and their lives. And the rain keeps falling. Torrential rain this very week with 400 millimeters accumulated. Hard to get out of the mud. We visited all the women we are helping and those we plan to support. We have helped purchase equipment, materials, and trying to think of larger scale, like buying a dehumidifier that will help several people at one time. We are now also looking into the legalities of receiving donations and the works that are being done, because they need this information too. All the women we're helping have a contact person at our club, and the money goes directly to them without intermediaries. It is great to see that some of the women we are helping, we are back in business, but many more women need our help. These two are powerful women who can make it happen. They just happen to be on the path of the floods. It's moving to see them work so hard to get out of the mud. They realize that life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, but learning to dance in the rain. But sometimes you can't do it on your own. Costa women have generously organized a raffle in which we hope you all participate. The proceeds will go to help these projects, these people. We are immensely grateful, Ali, and I know all the victims are too. We cannot help every single person, but we can help one, then two, then three. But there are many more waiting for a hand. Your hand to help them get out of the mud and back on their feet. These women are hoping for sunshine after the rain. And together, we can make it happen.
Thank you, Soledad, so much for that really powerful explanation of the suffering that we've all seen on the news. I think it's very wonderful to take it down to the level of the individual. So thank you for doing that for us. And where you registered this morning, you'll be able to see right opposite their table. So please do go along in the coffee break and the lunch break and pick up your raffle tickets. We've got some fantastic prizes. I wanted to mention about a feedback form that you have in your bag as well. We'd really appreciate your feedback. So as you're listening to all speakers back, thinking about them, please do give us your feedback, and on the way out, just drop it at the registration desk, and it will help us to make every future conference even better for you. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our very first speaker for the day. We've got Michele Collison from Mindshift Theory, and she's going to give us a fascinating talk called Start Before You're Ready, the courage to live boldly. And it's about how waiting for the right time holds us back from fully embracing life. Now, Michele is a trailblazer, an unapologetic nonconformist who fearlessly challenges the status quo with a simple question: why not? As an entrepreneur, author, and speaker, she has dedicated her life to breaking boundaries and redefining success on her own terms. In 2020, Michele began a global movement aimed at unleashing the abundant potential within each of us. And through her business, Mindshift Theory, she's on a mission to ignite a ripple effect of transformation that raises the well-being of 1 million people in her lifetime. And us here in the room today are going to be some of those people. So Michele, over to you, please.
And nervous and excited. There we go. Is that better? I don't like that at all. Are you excited to be here? Awesome. I was wondering, can we turn it down a little bit? Thank you. I would rather talk without the mic. Can I do that? No? All right. Have you ever had an idea that you were so excited about, that it was bubbling up inside you and you couldn't wait to share it with everybody? But then you stopped dead in your tracks because you were worried that people would either tell you it's not possible, or they would tell you all the reasons why it won't work, or even worse, they'll think you're crazy. My biggest fear is that people will think I'm crazy. Either they'll think I'm crazy, or they'll think I'm full of myself. You see, I believe that I have found the answer, the solution to all the problems in the world. I have found the thing that will end inequality for women, it'll end discrimination, it'll even end world hunger and wars. But I'm so worried that people will think I'm crazy that I stopped talking about it. But today I'm going to be brave, and I'm going to stand up right here and tell you my idea, whether or not you think I'm crazy. You see, I believe that our entire experience of life happens right here. It happens in our head. And I call it the postal code, or in America we say the zip code. I'm going to use zip code because it sounds cooler. But it's the postal code in your head, the place you call home inside your head. And we all spend a lot of time up here. I also believe that we can choose the zip code in our head at any time. And I choose to choose the best zip code in my head every single day. But some people think I'm crazy. Because in my zip code, everything is amazing. The world is a wonderful place. My life is abundant. My friends are incredible. My children inspire me every single day. And I don't age. In my zip code, I level up. Other people think I'm full of myself because my zip code is perfect. In my zip code, I am perfect. Life is perfect. But not perfect in the way that you may think. You see, I know that life has its ups and its downs. I've had my fair share of ups and downs. Even my starting point was shit. I was born the wrong color in a time and place where racial discrimination was constitutional, and my opportunities were severely limited. But regardless of this, I still choose to live in the zip code of my choosing, the perfect zip code in my head. And at this point, you're probably wondering, how do you do it, Michele? How do you live in this perfect world in your head when things go wrong in the world around us? To explain this, I want to talk about the difference between circumstance and experience. See, in life, these two things are happening at the same time, simultaneously, always. There's the circumstance, the events of the day, or the events as they happen, and then there's our experience of those circumstances. The circumstances can be things like, my flight was delayed by an hour, I got fired from my job, my husband came home late, the president said something that triggered me, I was in a car accident, or within 3 days I went completely blind. All true stories. But my experience of each of these events can be very different depending on the zip code in my head, depending on the current place I call home inside my head. So let's look at the flight delay as an example. Raise your hand if your flight has ever been delayed by more than an hour. It's annoying, right? But my experience of this circumstance can be different, like I said, depending on where you live in your head. My experience could either be, this airline is the worst, It's so annoying. They couldn't even let us know earlier, and their staff at the desk, they're absolutely useless. I paid for a flight home today. They better be compensating me for this. Or my experience could be, oh shit, I'll just grab a cup of coffee and wait. Luckily, I brought a good book to read. Or my experience could be, thank freaking goodness they're fixing whatever needed fixing on the plane before we took off. Knowing what's happening in the air these days, right? But we tend to treat these two domains of circumstance and experience as if they are one and the same, as if the circumstance causes the experience, and as if we have no choice to choose a different type of experience. And we rationalize it. We say things like, anyone would feel the way I'm feeling in my circumstance, or anyone would struggle the way I've struggled if they went through what I went through. Why do we allow our circumstances to have such absolute control over our experience? I want you to think about this the next time someone makes you angry. And I want to share with you now how I came to the realization that not only can I choose my experience, but every time I do, it has a positive impact on my life and on everything around me. The tool that really helped me come to this understanding is a journaling practice. Journaling helped me think about my thinking. It helped me identify and separate the circumstance from the experience and realize that one doesn't cause the other. And this realization is not easy, especially when it comes to close family, like a partner or a child. I was not happy when I realized that my child's behavior did not make me angry. And in fact, I cried when I realized that it was not my behavior that had made my parents angry in the past. So I was preparing my whole talk for you guys today on how to prepare this amazing zip code in your life. When the feeling of hopelessness and despair suddenly hit me again. And it started when I thought about how crazy you'll think I am. And then the feeling of overwhelm grew heavier and heavier as I started noticing things that were happening to people around me. Things like relationship breakdowns, despair about the political situation, overwhelming loneliness, or even a medical report confirming cancer. These things were happening to people I love, not to me directly, but still I couldn't help shake this feeling of helplessness. And it's a feeling I remember feeling so many times before. There were many times in my life where my zip code in my head was not a good place. Like the time I lost my eyesight. You see, in 2022, I had a retinal detachment. Now, I have written a book about this, so I'm not going to go into detail, but I have the book because I believe that everyone needs to know the warning signs of retinal detachment and the urgent action that's necessary. But in summary, the retina is the membrane at the back of the eye that receives the light and converts it into signals that it sends to the brain, allowing us to see. Mine detached, and I went blind within a few days. And over the course of 9 months, I had to have 4 different eye surgeries. And at that same time, I remember feeling the same fear, the same hopelessness. We're not on that slide yet. The same fear and the same hopelessness. That one works. And I don't know at the time if it was depression or not, but that is how it felt. There were so many days I felt lost and I felt alone and I felt defeated by the adversity. So when I began to recognize these same feelings bubbling up for me again, I looked back at my past experience to try and find the one thing that helped me push through what was a really horrible experience. Was it my resilience? Am I just an emotionally strong person? Hell no. Do I always see the bright side of every situation? No ways. Sometimes life really does suck, and I don't pretend otherwise. But I realized at this time that I was diligently journaling and learning so much about myself and about my brain. I can honestly say that journaling saved my life. Journaling helped me to stop focusing on the things that were going wrong, the things that were bad in my life. And I don't mean pretend that they don't exist. I still had to have the horrific eye surgeries. I was still uncertain whether I would ever gain vision in my eye again. And my arms were still bruised from all the needles injecting anesthetic into my veins. So how do we cope when things feel hopeless? I think we're asking the wrong question. It was actually just last week when a friend helped me realize this. We were walking around Nerja, and she asked me what she needed to be aware of about my eye condition so that she could be more mindful of my situation. And I said to her, well, firstly, I need you to stand on my left so I can see you. But then also, I am nearsighted, right? Hands up, all my nearsighted ladies. A few. If I remove my glasses and I look at an object, the further away that object is, the more blurry it becomes, right? So that's with my left eye. But we're lucky that glasses or contact lenses can bend the light to hit the retina in just the right place so we can see clearly. Well, in my right eye, where the retina has been lasered several times and has cells that have atrophied or died while it was detached, this eye has missing pieces of information or missing pixels. So when I look at an object, if I focus on that object with my right eye, it disappears. And unfortunately, glasses or contact lenses cannot bend light around my atrophied eye cells, nor do eye cells regenerate. But I've learned that if I look just to the side of the object, I can see it in my peripheral vision. So if I look at the object, it disappears. But if I look to the side, I can see it in the surrounding, in my peripheral. And that's when it hit me. Because I'm actually training my brain now to focus on an object by not focusing on the object. And I was like, oh my God, is this what I do with all the obstacles in my life? I try not to focus on the negative, but look at the surrounding and everything else around me. Because when you focus on anything, you put intentional thought on that thing. And that requires a lot of energy. And when we spend too much time focusing on the negative, we can start to ruminate and not move forward and get stuck repeating the same messages to ourselves, like life is unfair, or the government needs to fix things, or if my husband would just pull their weight. Or I even remember negotiating with God. Have you done that? Dear God, help me get through this, and I'll ... Or even worse, self-blame. I can't do this. It's my fault. I'm a failure. So what if, instead of focusing on the negative, we simply let go? What if we released ourselves from the pressure of the expectations that we set for ourselves? And what if, in doing so, we give ourselves the grace and the love and the freedom to simply be? And here's a radical idea. What if, in simply being, we realize that we are actually perfect just the way we are? And that we can try and fail and try again, and this process of trying and failing and trying again is actually the perfect way to overcome any obstacle in life. There is no better way. So maybe how we cope with tough times is not about resilience, and it's not about being strong or coping, but maybe it's about celebrating and not criticizing, but really celebrating every single one of our efforts. Because every day that we get up and try again is another day worth celebrating. Is this what self-compassion looks like? Here's another way to think about it. Show of hands, all the moms in the room. Now keep your hands raised if you can remember the day they took their first steps. Okay, awesome. I'm going to demonstrate my own personal experience, but you may remember something similar with your own child, or grandchild, or niece or nephew, or even watching a young animal learn to walk. I'm talking about that moment that left an imprint on your heart. That day, the child with their wobbly legs, their arms held out for balance like a tiny tightrope walker about to embark on the most daring feat of their life. And then it happens. A little shuffle, a foot lift hanging in the air for just a second before landing maybe a little bit too hard on the floor. Can you remember the anticipation bubbling up inside you? I'm going to share my experience.
Good girl.
Ever singing? And then the inevitable, right? They fell. But they did it. They took their first steps. And in that moment, can you feel it? The pride swelling up in your chest, the tears welling up in your eyes. In that moment, they are perfect. And can you remember what you did? You celebrated them, you cheered them on, you hugged them, you lifted them up. When they fell, you held their tiny hand and you encouraged them to try again. Now imagine if we did this, if we reacted this way for two key people in our lives, for yourself and for all the women around you. What if we believed in ourselves and in the women around us the same way we believed in that little toddler learning to walk? I'm sure we have no hesitation when we say to our toddler, "You are perfect, magnificent, awesome, extraordinary, a force for good in this world." Can we say to our friends, "You are perfect, magnificent, awesome, extraordinary, a force for good in this world"? And can we say to ourselves, "I am perfect, magnificent, awesome, extraordinary, a force for good in this world"? But why don't we do it? I mean, imagine with that little toddler learning to walk, imagine if we said, "Stop wobbling." If they fell and we said, "What a bad first impression you're making. I think you don't even care about walking. You're going to make a pretty bad adult. What will people think? That'll be embarrassing. I don't think you're ready to walk. I think we should read a few more books on walking, and maybe you should take a course." Do you know that it's actually a pretty selfish act for us to encourage our toddler to walk? I mean, who wasn't excited not to have to carry them around everywhere, right? It's a win-win situation. You get just as much out of it as the child does. And just like with the child learning to walk, when we encourage each other, we get just as much out of it. It's a win-win situation. And if we continue to treat each other in this way, the ripple effect will cause a global movement. And this is how we solve all the world's problems, by raising our collective well-being. Because when we feel good on the inside, we do good on the outside. So I have a quick challenge to you. In your booklets, on the page with my name on it, you'll see a box entitled "All the Perfect Women in Your Life." I want you to write your name at the very top, and then below it, the name of all the amazing women that are closest to you. Next to each name, I want you to write adjectives that describe them. And I've listed a few ideas to get you started. My favorites are bonkers, kind, and perfect. And the next time you see that person, the next time you look in the mirror, I want you to tell yourself exactly what you've written, and tell them. A year ago, I sat where you guys are sitting when Ramonda J stood on stage and she encouraged us to turn to the women on our side and tell them you are amazing. If you remember, if you were here last year, I don't know the person who sat beside me, but those words that they said resonated in my head and have become a part of my message. I am amazing. I am perfect. You are perfect. And those words, perfect, may not feel comfortable with you yet, and that's okay. But I took those words that I heard on the stage that day and I did something with it. And I want you to take the words that you're going to hear on the stage today throughout the day and do something with it. And the best way to do something with it is by creating good habits. So at the bottom of that page in front of you, the bottom right-hand side is a barcode for a habit checklist or a habit tracker if you want to use it. But something really, really close to my heart. As Georgina mentioned earlier, I am on a personal mission to raise the well-being of 1 million people before I reach level 50, actually. I have just over 2 more years. So if I have had even the smallest positive impact on you today, please scan the QR code at the bottom left-hand side and just click the big button to help me reach my target of impacting 1 million people. And in closing, you have a choice to accept yourself as perfect. Or if perfect doesn't yet feel right for you, use words like whole or complete. But starting today, what is the zip code that you're choosing to live in your head? Thank you.
Thank you, Michele. You did amazing. That was her first speech that she's ever given. How amazing was that? Talk about proof of going ahead and doing things before you feel ready, because you never do, but you did absolutely an amazing, amazing job. What a fantastic way to start the 12th annual Costa Women event. Thank you, Michele. That's absolutely amazing. We're going to move on to our second speaker now, architect and landscape designer Mariel Murias. She will be talking about the secret language of spaces, designing to awaken the senses at home. And Mariel is being very brave today, speaking in English, so well done, and we're going to be really kind. I said to her, your English is 1,000 times the most of our Spanish, so please don't feel in any way nervous about that. Now, Mariel is a mother, a grandmother, an architect, and a landscape designer with over 30 years of experience. She is the creator of the innovative MUMA method, Your Multisensory Home, which integrates her experience with the principles of sensory psychology to design spaces that engage all the senses using natural elements. She's designed a wide range of spaces which are always focused on comfort, health, and well-being. And through her book, workshops, and online platforms, Mariel shares her vision of sensory-centered design, transforming the way we experience spaces. Please take it away, Mariel.
Hola, hola. Thank you, gracias, all of you ladies. Well, thank you, Michele, because this feeling is what I am feeling now. I am like a little lady trying to speak perfect English. Okay. Have you ever... what about my... Okay. Ahí. Ahora sí. Have you ever found yourself gravitating, as an adult, gravitating back for the things that fascinated you as a child? For me, was building. As a little girl, I could spend hours on the floor with wooden blocks and creating small spaces. At that time, it seems like a game, but was something deeper for me. Was freedom, creativity, the beginning of lifelong fascination for meaningful spaces. On the other hand, on Sundays held a special magic for me too. Every Sunday I visited my grandmother Francisca. She taught me something extraordinary in her garden, to not see only the nature, but to feel it, to pause and listen to the winds whisper, to see the color and the aromas of flowers, to marvel at the interplay and sunrise and shadow, and to touch the cool leaves that are in the trees. This magic garden gave me the big idea that our places not just shelter us, they connect us with ourselves, with our being. This experience, years later, led me to become an architect, with the idea to merge the interior and landscape together. Then, one day, everything changed. Something happened with me that was when, like same as you, when you can stop and make you rethink all your life, everything. That's what happened to me. In February 2020, I came from Buenos Aires, Argentina, to Spain to further my studies in interior and architecture, further to enthusiasm and with only 2 languages. In my 50s, I gifted to me this big adventure to stay in Spain for 1 year to improve in this interior design. And I felt absolutely happy again. But just 15 days later, everything changed. The COVID appeared, was locked down, and I was closing in a room in Barcelona, and I felt absolutely stuck. The government left to ask all of the students to come back home during 10 days because we were foreign. I called my children and they said, "No, Mom, it's only 15 days. You can stay there. It's okay." Yes, I said, "Okay, but I don't know anybody. I came because I can speak Español in España, and it's easy for me. But I am stuck in this place which I don't like it." But they said, "Follow your dream, Mom, follow your dream." Okay? And I choose to stay. But when I was in the room, I felt this room is not make me feel belonging. It seems like a structure lacking the connection. All my experience, or like many expats in that time, I missed not my culture or my family. I missed my home, the feeling of that this house has my witnesses, my memories. This was the house who embraced me several times. And this house made me feel overstressed more. In that time, one day after a meditation, I thought, what's about this world? What's about to research something that gave me more enthusiasm again? And I feel passion for architecture all my life. And that's why I started to research about architects, neuroscientists, psychologists, which impact, that they said that the impact that we have our environment in our life and in our mood and in our feeling. And I read about the colors in the University of New York. I read about the biophilia in London that they are talking about the nature. And And I read the architect that they told about the phenomenology that all the environment causes in ourselves. And in one research and one paper that I found in 2019, was in the scientist report that I read that one scientist said the people who spend at least 120 minutes in nature, they have a remarkable 59% of good health and well-being than the people who only stay at home. And was like the moment, this moment that this means eureka, because you said, imagine, what's about if I can bring the nature at home? Of course, it's good to stay outside. But that's why, for me, was at the beginning of fascination to share this discover, because the importance to bring natural plants, fabrics, textures, aromas, and to work to design for senses, for your senses. Imagine if you are in a place in your favorite room that all the senses are speaking to you. For example, the bright colors, the aromas that make you calm, the cushions they invite you to touch, or like yesterday, one lady said, "My cat invites me to touch." Imagine what do you feel. Well, I would like to share what I feel for me. If you are open to do it so, please close your eyes. Crossing the door of my home, I enter a sensory refuge. Instantly, I enveloped by a soft, fresh scent, a blend of natural plants, hint of mint, and warm spices floating in the air, as if nature itself is welcoming me in. This gentle fragrance not only awakens my sense of smell, but stirs my sense of taste, as my eyes land on a bowl of fresh fruit on the table. It is an invitation, a reminder of simple and natural flavors and freshness that only nature can offer. As I take off my shoes, another sense comes alive. I hear the subtle whispers of the space around me. It is the sound of the architecture itself. Each step on the bare wood has its own gentle echo. The walls soften its sounds as if the floor adjusted to my weight. It is as if the rooms breathe, attuning itself to my presence. Its sounds perfectly aligned with my thoughts, drawing me into a deeper connection with my environment. My eyes take in a warm tones, embracing every corner of the room, enveloping me in an instant serenity. Light and shadows dance in a constant interplay, revealing unconcealed little secrets in every corner, each filled with life, as if its shadows was carefully orchestrated to invite me to discover something new. A slight shift in a light is enough to transform the atmosphere, inviting me to experience a new place in a calm and in a dynamic choreography. With bare feet on the soft carpet, I feel a tactile connection with the room. Each texture, every surface, invite me to pause and truly feel, to touch and explore with renewed curiosity. Every element in my home seemed orchestrated to bring me into a present, inviting me to experience each detail with renewed curiosity. When you are ready, please open your eyes. Our home is more than a shelter. It's the space, is the place that we have a sensory journey. I need to change the list. It's the place that we have a sensory journey. That's why we are living in a world that we are disconnected with the screens and mobiles and everything. And it's very important to design for the senses. But I think maybe you might be thinking how I can do it, or when I can start, or where I can start. Let me help you with this. This evening, when you come back home, or when you close your computer, please stop and watch around you. And inhale and think what I am feeling. Listen to the answer. What sense is sparking to me? Is the taste? What is the smell? Or which color? Or what I can touch? Listen to your answer. There are so much in this room, or what is I would like to change? Please listen to the answer. Try to design for feelings, not only for beauty. And if I would talk to my grandmother, Francisca, I will say, Abuela, I am teaching people how I learn in your garden to create multisensory experiences at home. As you touch me in your garden, because for me it's too important. Thank you, ladies. Our home is our experience. And I have this big announcement. This year I have the book, and you can do it by your own, the multisensory experience at home. If you would like to, it's in the top. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Muchísimas gracias. Qué valor tienes para hacer esto en inglés.
Estaba temblando. Shaking.
She was shaking, but she did brilliant, didn't she? Give her another round of applause for doing that in English as well.
Thank you.
You have a very beautiful voice, I have to say. When I was closing my eyes, you took me into your room, into your home. So thank you for sharing that with us. So yes, quite a few of the speakers here today have books, and they are outside by the reception desk, which you can purchase. So please do support your speakers in that way. Now, before we move on to the next speech, I have to introduce one of our wonderful sponsors for today, for whom we could not do these things without. And we have Anita Holt, who is a representative of Avalon Funeral Plans, and she's going to come up and say a few things about her business. Here she is. Anita, please come and tell us all about the funeral plans. Something maybe a lot of us don't think about, but it's important to be dealing with the difficult subjects as well as those nicer, fluffier ones.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Anita, and I'm here today to talk to you about something that many of us don't like to think about, but it's incredibly important. Funeral planning here in Spain. Now, I know what you're thinking, what a cheerful way to spend a morning, but don't worry, I promise to keep things light. We all know life can be unpredictable, and none of us like to dwell on the idea of what happens when we pass away. But if there's one thing I've learned in my 6 years working with Avalon, it's that being prepared brings peace of mind, not just for yourself, but for your loved ones as well. Here's a fact for you. 1 in 6 British expats over the age of 65 living in Spain already have a funeral plan with Avalon. That's because they recognise the importance of being prepared and ensuring their families won't face unnecessary stress when the time comes. So I'm here today to share some vital information about how funerals work in Spain, the unique challenges that expats face, and how a funeral plan can help you and your family avoid unnecessary stress when the time comes. Many people assume that funeral arrangements here work just like they do in our own countries, but that's not the case. One of the biggest differences is the speed at which funerals take place. In Spain, funerals typically take place within 24 to 48 hours. That means if something were to happen today, your funeral could be as soon as tomorrow, and payment could be required immediately. This can be extremely challenging for families, especially if they don't live here and need to travel to Spain at short notice. The average cost of a Spanish cremation last year rose to €3,617. In addition to the costs, dealing with unfamiliar procedures, legal paperwork and language barriers can add to the stress, making an already difficult time even harder. A funeral plan is not insurance. It is a way of pre-arranging and prepaying for your funeral in advance, ensuring that everything is taken care of when the time comes. It allows you to lock in today's prices for funeral services, protecting your loved ones from rising costs in the future. With an Avalon funeral plan, you have the reassurance that everything is arranged according to your wishes, removing the financial and emotional burden from your family during what would be an already difficult time. We've helped over 100,000 families, and we are a multi-award-winning provider of prepaid funeral plans and have been serving expats in Spain since 2003. And we are proud to have won the Best Funeral Plan Provider at the UK Personal Finance Awards 5 years in a row. But what we really value is the 4,000 reviews from actual customers giving us a 5-star excellent rating on Trustpilot. Importantly for you, we are only one of only 2 UK regulated funeral plan providers operating in Europe. This means that your money is fully protected under UK financial regulations, ensuring complete peace of mind. We offer dual country cover between Spain and the UK, and Avalon plans cover you in both of these countries. You can pay up front or spread the cost with manageable instalments. We offer direct cremations, full burial and cremation plans, as well as repatriation services, if you wish to be laid to rest in the UK. If you choose an instalment plan and pass away before completing your payments, Avalon can honour your plan in full, ensuring your family does not have to cover the outstanding balance. Our plans start from €2,595. I know this isn't the easiest topic to discuss, but thank you for sticking with me. But I hope you can see that having a plan in place is one of the most thoughtful things you can do for your loved ones. And I'll be outside today if you want to talk or need further information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anita. Always important to think about those more difficult moments as well as the good ones. Right. We are absolutely zooming through the presentations today. Thank you, everybody, for keeping us not only on time, but early. Woo. I have my timer and everything, and I'm not needing it. So that is really, really wonderful. Okay, we're going to move on to our next speaker, who is going to take us up to the coffee break. I'm sure those of you like me that didn't actually manage to make it into the queue for coffee is counting down. But hold on, because we've got a really fantastic speaker next. So I'd ask you to give a warm Costa Women welcome to Kate Kurdziej. She is the CEO of Olivier Consultancy, and she's going to be discussing the importance of mastering client boundaries, and which she calls the key to a thriving business and a peaceful life. And we were talking about this at the networking yesterday, and I so agree with that. It's something that, with the advent of WhatsApp, perhaps some of us aren't as good as we could be at it, so I'm glad she's here. Now, she says, get ready to stop people-pleasing and start thriving with sustainable success, which definitely sounds good to me. So Kate Kurdziej is a business strategist. She's a consultant and a mum who helps female entrepreneurs to plan, fill, and deliver profitable retreats and in-person experiences. With over 15 years of experience in business operations and strategic growth, she's passionate about empowering women to scale with ease, make money, and create a ripple effect through the work that they do. So I'm very much interested in hearing this one. Please come on up, Kate.
It's so nice to be here. How are you feeling? Are you all good? Good. Okay, before we get started, I have put my son's little red toy car under one of your seats, and the lucky person is going to come up on stage unannounced. So have a little look under your chair, just have a little reach, see if you can find it. Who's that lucky person? Just have a little reach. If you can't find it, it's probably not under your chair. Take a deep breath, everybody. You're safe. It's not under your chair. I'm the lucky person. So whose heart started to race a little bit there? Did you start? Terrifying, isn't it? That's how I used to feel around 2 years ago. Speaking to my clients when they were overstepping boundaries, I used to get incredible spikes of anxiety. And I used to feel a little bit sick and think, God, I would rather be anywhere else right now apart from here. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about client boundaries and how you can manage your clients better for a much more peaceful life. And if you have a peaceful life and your mind's in the right place, your business is going to thrive. So if we didn't meet at the networking event last night, my name is Kate, and I love working with women. We have so many nuances, so many things that we do slightly differently to men. And when we become business owners, this is completely amplified. So any little element of people-pleasing that we might have, of undercharging, not valuing our services, this is completely magnified when we run our own business. So I work with women to charge much more. I can probably say right now, everybody double your prices. Do it overnight, because you're probably not charging enough. Get help where you need it. Grow your team if you need to. Create the processes, get the tech in place, get the structure that you need to actually run a successful business. This isn't a side hustle. We're growing empires. And there's this quote that I love. I hang out on Instagram most of the time. That's my sort of main channel of marketing. And I came across Justin Welsh. So he said, the happiest entrepreneurs I know aren't the richest. They're the ones who built a business that complements their lives rather than consumes it. And I love that word consume, because when you're a business owner, especially if you're a solo female business owner, quite often we are consumed by our business. We think we have to work 24/7, we have to work harder, we have to open our laptops when the kids have gone to bed, because we've always got things to do on our to-do list. And actually, I'm here to say that we don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You can actually work within your work times and actually have a life outside of your business as well. So a little bit about me. I got a degree in the UK, worked abroad for a long time in Asia, came back and sort of fell into business operations really. My degree is actually in archaeology. So digging up bison bones in South Dakota was one of my favourite summers that I spent. But long story short, I came back to the UK and sort of fell into business operations and administration. And I found that I was really good at it. And then I got the bug for that corporate life of taking a promotion. Every 2 years, I was jumping from job to job to job. And then one day I found this job up here, which was practice manager of a wealth management company. And I thought, yes, my mum's going to be so proud of me. I've made it. And it was fabulous until day one, when I actually started. And it was very, very toxic. A couple months into the job, I was in therapy for anxiety because the financial advisor and the general job itself, making rich people richer, wasn't really doing it for me, and it was really spiking my anxiety. The boss that I worked for would come in late and stay late, but she expected everyone else to stay late as well, even though we came in on time. And this really perpetuated. I was deep in my people-pleasing era at that time. So I started to have therapy, started to control it, but it would just carry on and carry on and carry on. And then I fell pregnant, which was a terrible idea at the time, but I fell pregnant. And my sort of moment, everyone has that switch. Have you had that moment in your head where you decided to start a business or decided to make a change in your life? So my moment was a little bit more depressing than that. I was 3 months pregnant in a car park in West Yorkshire in England, wearing my lovely navy corporate dress, and I was on the phone to HR crying because the job was just not what I thought it was going to be. So I left. I quit at 3 months pregnant. And then lockdown happened. And at 8 months pregnant, I went into labor early, and my baby was born during lockdown. But during that time, I started a business because I didn't have a job to go back to. So I started a business, and it was amazing. I realized that I was in control of my own time. I could work with the clients that I wanted to. I didn't have this crazy boss that was always pulling me in different directions, and I felt free. But it only lasted a year or so, and I realized I was falling into those same patterns as before. I just swapped my employer for my clients. They were always on at me, always wanted something, and I felt like I was being chased all the time. I was in reactive mode rather than proactive. I never felt like I was building my business. I felt like I was always helping them, and there was never time for me. So we actually moved to France first, from England, and then we ended up in Spain. But when we moved to Spain, I thought, something's going to change this time. Something's going to change. I'm going to manage my clients better. But I want to picture this. 4 o'clock, Friday afternoon, my 4-year-old son is going, "Mummy, Mummy, Mummy, I want to go swimming." Okay, let's go. Silly Kate checked her phone, because my phone is always in my hand, and I checked it. And there was an email from a client, "Urgent, blah, 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 blah." I thought, oh my God, something's on fire. So I check it, and my heart sank. And before I could think twice, I was back on my laptop, responding to that request. Now we ask ourselves at that point, why do we do it? Why do we check our phone? I wasn't meant to be working at 4 o'clock, but I was still doing it. I couldn't break this cycle of saying, actually, no, I'm not available. I'm not available 24/7. You're not paying for my time 24/7. I'm not on call. So I bet you're thinking that I went back to the client and did the work, but I didn't. I let the client know that it's outside of my stated working hours. I don't work past 3 o'clock. It was outside of my turnaround time. I don't do urgent requests. And it really was just not something that I was able to pick up, but what I can do is schedule the work in for next week. And I went to the swimming pool, and I felt sick the whole time, and I was meant to be playing with my son, and I couldn't focus. And then I came home, and I checked my phone again, and I saw that she'd replied. And I thought, oh my God, she's going to terminate my contract. She's going to badmouth me all over Instagram, like my worst nightmare. But she actually replied and said, "No problem, Kate. Have a lovely weekend. We'll sort it out next week." The sickness left my body. And that one little moment then was the one moment where I thought, if I can do it with this one client, this one time, what if I do that with all my clients? What if I do it with my clients right now? And then what if I do it with my clients as the problems happen as well? Because it's always going to happen. We have to kind of train our clients to work with us in a certain way. But you have to know what you want to do. You have to know what you want to say, and you have to reinforce those boundaries all the time. Now, I always think if there's a pattern, there's a problem. We can be flexible, okay? I'm not saying that as business owners, it's just black and white all the time. We can choose what we want to do. But if there is a pattern with a certain client or a certain set of things that your clients always do, so Georgina mentioned WhatsApp, for example. Do clients always get you out of hours? Do you always check your phone out of hours? Is probably more the question. So there is a section in your workbook. If you're thinking of a particular client at this point, just make a little note. If you're thinking of a particular thing, we won't check your workbooks, don't worry. If you're thinking of a particular thing that really bugs you, what really drains your energy? Is it clients messaging you out of hours? Is it clients demanding an immediate response from you, chasing you when you're not responding the same day? Make a little note if there's something that you think, that's something that I really, really want to change. Now, what happens if you don't change it? It's something that I call client burnout. And when I've done a session on this before, somebody came up to me afterwards. He was an accountant in the UK, and he was like, you nailed it, because what happened to him is he closed his accountancy practice because he just could not manage his clients. They were on him, consuming him, and he just could not get on top of it. So for me, I can talk from personal experience here, I felt really out of control. I felt very reactive. We all want to be proactive. You've probably all got your business to-do list where you're like, make a landing page, make an email list, email my clients, all of this sort of thing. But you never get around to it, so you feel quite out of control. I was sort of waning between intense motivation for the business, when I wasn't hearing from my clients, and then total disinterest when my clients were always on at me. I felt rushed, pulled in too many directions, and started to deprioritize myself. And I think that's something that often as women, we fall into that habit anyway. So when you have a lot of clients on your books, maybe you're a coach, therapist, some sort of service provider, you find that sometimes you just want to back away. And have you ever thought, I just want to burn my business to the ground? I'm done with this. My phone is lighting up like a Christmas tree. Every time I look at it, there's 20 more WhatsApps, 10 more Voxers, 3 more Telegram messages, and then your email inbox is, don't even talk about it. So you just want to burn it down and think, wouldn't it be easier if I just went back to employment? Who's had that thought? I get it occasionally. But that's no fun, right? You didn't start your business to have those thoughts. And it doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be, I'm in a salaried position and I just answer to a boss that I don't like, or I have a business but I have to be available to my clients 24/7. It doesn't have to be either or. There is a way in the middle where you can manage your clients effectively, you can make lots of money, you can have incredible impact with your clients, and they can go on to have a ripple effect with their clients, and you can say no to your clients. And you can say, fabulous, I'll get back to you on Monday. There are ways that you can do this. So it's really important that you have control of your own schedule as a business owner. Your business is never going to grow if you're always in reactive mode. You want to feel energized. You want to feel happy to get to work in the morning, not think, oh God, I have a to-do list, but what I'm going to do first is check my emails and see who needs me first. And that's my second to-do list. I want you to switch it. And one thing that I really recommend is actually scheduling time in the morning, instead of opening your inbox first or checking your messages, is actually work on your business first. Make it a habit, make it a priority. 30 to 60 minutes every morning, just working on your own business. And when clients have tried this, the switch is unbelievable, just by reprioritizing it. And you're actually working on your own business at the same time. So you have 2 wins out of it. You want to feel confident, you want to feel that you're not compromising, that you're not setting up this business, but actually you're not really in the driving seat. And I love this one, approachable but not always available. So we want to be friendly, lovely business owners, but we're a business. We're not your friend. So we have to make that differentiation. Now, the last one is for all those coaches in the room, therapists, anytime that you're sort of helping your clients with a certain thing. So I worked with a coach once, and she was always responding to her clients almost immediately, or certainly within the next hour or two. So whenever they had a question, they messaged her, and they got almost an immediate response. Now, when you do that as a coach, you're actually disempowering your clients to work through the problem themselves. So what we did is we implemented a bit of a time lapse of, you can reply to your clients, but maybe just check twice a day. Check the next morning. And she found that as she left more time in between, you still have to provide the service, of course, but leaving that little bit of extra time often prompted a message from the client to say, okay, I've worked through it, this is what I'm going to do. She hasn't created that dependency with the client and the coach. So for her client in the long run, that's much, much better. And for her in the long run, it's much, much better. Now, we can't do any of this without a contract or some sort of terms and conditions, terms of agreement in place. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand because there will be people in this room who are not working without legal terms in place. So I won't get you to admit that. But there's so many people that still do that. So please, 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 make a note. If you don't work with some sort of signed contract or terms of agreement on the point of purchase, so when they send you money, please make sure that they understand this is what the terms are. This is what it looks like working with you. So there's a couple of things I would love for you to go and review in your terms, in your contract. Availability. Have you stated your working times? Communication channels. Do you accept communication by all means necessary, or actually just funneling into WhatsApp for Business, or just by email? Response times. When are people expecting a response from you? In your contract, you might have 24 to 48 hours response time, but what you actually do is message them back almost instantly because you've got your phone in your hand. What are you training your clients to do in that moment? You're training them to message you, get an instant response. So let's look at widening that a little bit. What happens if they miss an appointment? You know, boundaries aren't all about timings and response times. What happens if you have a scheduled meeting with them and they don't show? They pay for it. Holidays, deliverables, timescales. If you're waiting on some information from them, what if they don't give it to you in time? And then they give it to you 2 weeks later when you're working with another client. That's going to make you really stressed. So what do you do? Penalty fees. Is there something that you can put in your contract that can prevent that and keep people guided into the right way of working with you? What happens with late payments? There's so many different things that you can talk about. But if you haven't got these kind of things scattered amongst your clauses in your contract or in your terms of agreement, please just go and check them and probably update them. Quite often you buy a legal template online when you first start your business. 5 years later, you haven't looked at it. So go back and review it. Okay, your action plan for today. I would love for you to review things, but really think deeply about how you want to work with your clients. So anything that you're doing currently, or anything that your clients are doing currently, that you don't like, or stresses you out, or drains your energy, or gives you that feeling where your heart drops a little bit, maybe it's not so severe. Maybe there's things that actually you think, okay, I've only got 2 clients at the moment, so I'm going over and above. I'm over-delivering on everything, which is what we do generally as women anyway. We give and give and give. You're not going to be able to do that when you have 10 clients, 20 clients. Then you're going to have a problem. So what can you do now to standardize things and tighten things up so things work really smoothly? Do update your contractual clauses. Have a look at them. Is there anything you want to change? For me personally, I was finding after school time really difficult because my phone was going off 5 o'clock when I'm trying to make dinner for my son. And I was thinking, God, it's so busy. What am I going to do about this? And I just thought, why am I telling my clients I'm available after 3 o'clock if I'm struggling with it? So I sent out a service update letter, and I said, I no longer am available after 3 o'clock. My working hours are 10 a.m. till 3. And you know what they said? They didn't fire me. They said, okay, cool. It's that easy. You just have to actually do it. So decide if you're going to proceed with all your clients, decide if you need to make any changes, service update letters, and I think the hardest thing is actually sticking to your boundaries. That is the hardest thing. It sounds like it's going to be the easiest thing, but it is the one hardest thing that you're going to do. And the first time you do it, the first time you push back on a client, it's going to make you feel a little bit uneasy, and you're not going to enjoy it, most likely. But then you just do it again, and again, and again. And your clients do it less and less and less because they understand how to work with you. Clients aren't inherently evil people. They want to work with you really well, okay? They want this to be a good working relationship. But you need to train them. This is how we work together. Because then maybe they worked with a coach or a virtual assistant or a therapist before, and they worked in a different way to you. So we need to explain to them how you work with me. Now, if you find this kind of thing a little bit scary, there is a little QR code in your workbook where you can get some free email templates. Hopefully the QR code scans okay. So please do download that. Sometimes it can be really stressful to look at a blank email and think, I need to tell my client to step back, stop doing something, or I need to raise my prices, and I feel a little bit icky about it. All of these email templates are in there for you. So I want you to remember one thing today. Boundaries aren't about saying no and being super inflexible and not making any adaptations to anybody. They're not about saying no. They're actually about saying yes to yourself, to your family, and to the life that you want to live. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Kate. That one really resonates with me. I am going to be looking at that tick sheet, and I'm going to be saying no, not now, tomorrow, or perhaps next week. I like next week, sounds even better. So I hope you guys have really enjoyed our first 3 speakers and you've taken a lot away from it. We're going to be having shortly a 15-minute coffee break. You'll be able to buy your raffle ticket there, and we've got 21 amazing raffle prizes from our speakers, from our sponsors, from lots of the lovely people that are here today. So please do make sure you buy your raffle tickets. Oh, look, there they are. Fantastic. And now people have been asking me, what's going on with the colours on your badge? So to reveal all, our leader, Ali.
You know, I like... Oh, it's not come up. Oh. You know, I like doing things that are slightly different. So this year, you've all got a colour, apart from the speakers, who can actually network with anybody. My idea is that you probably came with somebody, or you know people that are here. I want you to meet people you don't know. So we've got 4 colours. We've got pink, green, yellow, and can somebody tell me what the 4th colour? Orange. So ladies, can the ladies that are wearing pink network with the ladies that are wearing orange, or the ladies that are wearing pink as well? So pink and orange network together, and the yellow and the green network together. So hopefully you'll meet people that you didn't know before, and you can start building a bigger network. Also, over on the wall over there on the right-hand side, you'll see bits that have dropped on the floor because they're not sticking on the wall properly, so apologies, it looks a terrible mess. One says, I want, and the other one says, I need. So if you actually want something or you need something, so maybe you need a designer, a website designer, or a logo or something, or you need help with something, please feel free to scribble on one of the Post-it notes. You've all got pens in your bags, and stick it on the wall, and we'll see if we can match you up with somebody that can help you. So you've got 20 minutes, half an hour. Yeah, half an hour for a coffee break. Please remember no drinks or food back in here. That's a requirement that they've made.